Good afternoon, students. This is now the second time that I'm talking to you because last year you were in your second year and now you are in your third year. So last year I was very impressed with your work, and so I hope that you will even work harder this year as third years. My name is Mrs. Herman, and I just want to caution you. When you call me, please don't say, "Hello, Arenda." We talk to our friends like that, not to professional people. And the second thing is, if you send me a WhatsApp, an email or anything, please address me as Mrs. Herman, because that is how I will address you. So let us just understand each other very well. Because if I hear, "Hello, Arenda," then I just keep quiet. So when you go on with your story, I've already switched off, because I don't know you. You cannot call me Arenda. I am not your friend. I am your tutor, and I need respect from you. So let us start. Okay, the first one is study safety precautions. Safety precautions this is now in your classroom. The first one is praise. Now praise has to do with how do you feel children that they are valued. So when somebody does something, because in your third year you will most probably go to grade 7 or you go to a high school. Now you must be very careful at the high school, because these children are on the internet forever. Even in class they will have their cell phone. So I want to caution you, make very, very sure that whenever you go and you must present a lesson, you must always read up before the time. Google things. Go on the internet. Just make yourself aware of different things that they can ask, because these children will try to catch you out. Remember, they are high school children. So number one is, when you present a lesson, make sure that you use proper examples. Examples that they can understand. And if you ask questions and they answer you, they put up their hand and they answer you in a proper way, then you must praise them, like, "Thank you, that was a very good thing," or "That was a brilliant idea, I haven't think of that," or "Yes, I will definitely use that example next time," so that these people can feel they are praised and valued. That is number one. Number two is, you must uplift their spirit. So when you come into the class, you cannot come with your problems. Your problems is your problems, and you must solve them at home. When you come to the class, you must come as if nobody even said something. One of your colleagues even said something to you in the morning in the staff room or something. You cannot come to the class and you will be upset. The children doesn't understand what is going on. Now you come there with a bad attitude. What does it say about your personality? No, you must always come and you must uplift their spirits, because you don't know, these children that are sitting in front of you, these students that are sitting in front of you, they come with problems from home. So they don't have time for your problems. They are there to study. They want to know things from you. They want to inquire information from you, and they want to understand, why must I take design and technology? What can I do with design and technology one day? So you must explain to them. So you must always read up on things and encourage them to do things. That is what uplifting is. Then the third one is expectations. Now we have different expectations. You as a student or a teacher have expectations for your learners or your students, that they can do well. But your students and their parents also have expectations from you as a student teacher or as a teacher of your class. So when we have expectations for one another, like I will tell my children, if you do your homework every day and you study every day, you will do very well. That is an expectation that I have for them. And if they bring their homework and it's neatly done, it's colored in the pictures are just perfect, everything, and the parents also sign. Then I tell them, this is very good. This is what I expect from you every day. So that is an expectation that the teacher have. Now the children and their parents also have an expectation of you. If you come late to your class, if you are absent all the time, then those children and parents will not have any expectations of you. They will just have a negative attitude towards you. But if you are on time, you are well prepared, you can answer questions, you can bring things to the class that they haven't think of, make the lesson productive, make the lesson interesting, then the children will also say, oh, Mommy, that teacher, he showed me something today and I can use it even outside the class. Can you see the expectations that children have, né? And then the parents will also say, yeah, this is a very good teacher, very strict and very fair. That is the expectations that parents have of you. And then problem solving is, how are you going to solve a problem in your class? You need to be fair. You need to be loyal to children. If you don't do your homework, you are going to be in trouble. Now some of them will take chances. The rest of them will do their homework. Some of them will take chances. They will not do their homework because they are just trying you. And then, because yesterday you said you will be punished, but then you don't punish them. Then the children say, I can get away with this. Later on, you are causing problems for yourself, and your problems became even bigger and bigger. And later on, it's just not with homework, but it's also with discipline, and it is also with every other thing. But if you are strict and you say, if you don't do your homework, you are going to sit in for break and do your homework. See, that is how you solve the problem. Then those children will say, with this teacher I cannot play, because what she says, she's going to do. That is how you solve your problems in the class, and that you will also set the expectations that you want. The next one is the difference between a person who is self-employed versus a person who is employment. Ne? It's the same thing as in the second year that you learn about you are your own boss when you are self-employed, and if you are employed by someone else, you are working for a boss, which means you are going to work from 8 to 5. But if you are self-employed, you will work from 8 to late. The second thing is you have your own schedule. Now, if you're working for a boss, the boss will say, okay, this amount of work I want to see in the next 2 days, you must be finished with this amount of work, and then you go to the other part of work. Now, when you are self-employed, you are your own boss and you have your own schedule. So you can decide, okay, if I don't finish this today, I will just go in tomorrow. I will go in earlier and work an hour or 2 later. Because you don't work for a boss, you work for yourself. Then number 3 is that economic climate that I'm always talking about. Ne? That is all over the world now, not just in Namibia, about the finances, the economics and everything else, where money is scarce. You cannot go to a bank. If you go to a bank now in this economic climate that is so bad in the country, if you go to the bank, they charge you extra fees for whatever you want. If you go for a loan, then the charges will be higher. But if you are self-employed and you don't want to go to a bank or something, you will rather borrow the money from your parents or from a family member, and that family member or parents will not ask you interest. But a bank or a place where you loan money, they will definitely ask for very high interest. Okay, then the fourth one is there's a wide variety of skills. Like we said in the second year, it's exactly the same question. And this is my favorite, you know, ne? by now you should know. I like this question very much, with proper examples. Now if we talk about a wide variety of skills, when we say, okay, now you are your own boss of your own small company, you need to know how the finances are working. You know how to pay your own taxes. You know how to put the profit back in the company that you are working for when you are self-employed. But when you are employed, then there's certain things. If you are working for a bank, there are people who are doing the finances, people that are doing the marketing, people that are doing different things. So each one will just work on his specific area. When you are employed at IOL or a bank or a school or something. But when you are self-employed, then you must have all these skills. And it is quite hard work because you will have to work very long hours. And your family, if you are married, your family will definitely feel the stress, your wife or your husband and the children, and they will moan all the time. So if you start your own business, it will be a benefit to you if you are not married, if you are a single person, because then you're only responsible for yourself. But once you start, once you are married, then it's not so easy. Okay. Now we are talking about the two main costs. There's a direct cost and there's an indirect cost. Now when I give you, I will first ask you what is direct cost, and then I will ask you what is indirect cost. Then I will give you an example. For example, if you want to bake a cake, what are you going to use, and what will the selling price be, and so on. So let me just explain in short quickly, because this is important. I like this question also. We'll make NB next to it. Let us start with direct cost. Direct cost, for example, if you make a cake, those are the things that is needed to make the cake, like the products that you will use, like the flour, the sugar, the eggs, and those things. The indirect cost is the things that will help you to make the product. For example, if you want to make a cake that you will sell later on, or different cakes that you will sell to customers, your indirect cost is your electricity, is your salaries if you have people that work for you, and also the rent that you will pay, the premises that you are hiring, the rent that you will pay every month. It's not difficult, Can you see? You must just, when I ask what is direct and indirect cost and give me an example, then this is exactly what I want you to do. So you can just take a simple idea and explain the two things for me, and then if you can even work out, I paid this for the eggs and for the flour and the sugar, and then you add up all those, and then you work out when you put in the electricity and so on and the water, how much will the end product be, and what will your profit be. If you make a sum for me like that, it will be a credit to you. Okay, next one is, why do we make use of images in our lesson? Now we know when we talk about images are like your information, the quality, the description, and the rating. So images are, for example, when you are taking photos for somebody. Now the person says, oh, I want you to take my photos when I'm getting married. Now you cannot just take the photos, you must also make use of images. Now you can also make use of images in your lesson plan. Now how do we use images in our lesson plan? Remember, if you have a lesson plan that you put on PowerPoint, for example, the images that you will use there is like the information, the words that and the information that you will want to give them. But another image is also the quality. How clear is the information? How relevant is the information? And also the quality of your PowerPoint. And then the third one is the description. How do you describe things of these? How do you take the images and describe your information? You can either use a picture or you use a background or something. And then the writing, like must we are all of us like Facebook, né? And we like to put things on Facebook, and then the people say, oh, I like this, no, I don't like this. Those are the ratings. Now you can make use of all these things in your lesson plan by using different images. And this is one of the questions that people struggled with a lot last year, and that is exactly why I put it in the exam again. Take note, go read up on it, and make sure that you can use different images and make when you write exams, please make sure that you take coloring pencils, you take a pencil, you take more than one pen, because when one pen just don't want to write now, you cannot panic because you will not finish your work. Just make sure that you have everything the night before. You put everything, you put them together. Before you go for exams, you must leave the things in the middle of the door so that you can even fall over your books and your pens and your things, that you cannot leave everything. And now in the exam, you sit and you panic because you don't have things. So go read up on different images. And how you can use it in your lesson plan. Because I can guarantee you, it is in the exam. Okay, now the second one, the next one is explain why banks require a good business plan. Now, most of people like to do this. They go to the bank and say, I want to borrow money. Then then the person will ask you, what do you want to do with the money? Then they say, no, I want to pay off my accounts. Then the person will ask, then do you have a salary? Do you have a fixed salary that you can pay us back? No. Then the person says, what are you coming to do here? You don't have a fixed salary. How are you going to pay the money back if we give you money? So these are the requirements that the bank will ask. Number one is the bank will ask you, why do you need the money that you asked to borrow? Number two is they will create a detailed description of you as a person who will want to borrow the money. Must give them a detailed description of your business. If you are self-employed and you want to borrow money from the bank, you must give a detailed description of what the business is all about. For example, I want you to give me a loan because I want to start my own business. I want to make dresses because I need the material, and I need to buy a sewing machine, and I want to rent a place. Those are the details, the description that you will give. And then the bank will ask, but how do you intend to pay back the loan? Do you have a fixed income? Yes or no? Yes, I'm a teacher, but this is just an extra job that I want to, or an extra business that I want to start. So later on, that after I retire, then I have a fixed business already. Then the bank will say, oh, okay. So you have a fixed salary every month. When we give you the money, we can just deduct it. Oh, that is a good idea. And then they will also ask you for your financial activities of your business. Then they will ask, okay, is it the first time that you are starting this business, or did you start the business already at your home? Then you can say, yes, I started it at my house. I bought a sewing machine, but it's just one. It is not an electrical one, and I so much want to. If I can just see if I have an electrical sewing machine, then I can make more clothes, and I can also employ somebody. Then the people will say, you have a good idea. Okay, we can grant you the loan, or no, you don't have a good idea. You don't even know how to pay the money back. Then they will reject you. Then the next one is they will ask you, is it first-hand experience that you have about sewing, or is it something that you must still learn, or did you just teach yourself how to sew clothes? So they want to find out, and this first-hand experience is the background of your business. They want to find out, how did you come about this idea? Who helped you to do it? Do you have training or something? That is what I said about first-hand experience. Then the last one is the status of your own personal account. Now they will ask you, do you have an account with, if you go, for example, to First National, they will ask you, okay, before we can see you have a detailed description of your business, and you know how to pay back the money, but do you have an account with us? No, I have an account with Standard Bank. Then they said, okay, bring us 6 months statement so that we can see how are you going about. What do you pay? How much do you pay for what? Are you a person that is loyal in paying back what you ask for? And so on. So that is the status of your own personal account. So you cannot go and borrow money, but you don't even have an account, and they can't even see the background of your account. So these things are very important, and this is a very important question. I like it. Okay, personal health. Personal health is your health, ne? When you are busy with personal health can be when you are working. For example, if you are a teacher, you are working at school, or you can have your own business. Now, personal health, the first one is your financial stress. If you have your own company and you don't have money, the customers are not buying frequently, that money can come in and you can buy stock again. So that in and out is your first, is now the flow of your business. So your financial stress is when money is just going out. But for example, if you spend $1,000 a month and only $40 come in, then you have financial stress, because what you spend is not what you get in return. So you will get financial stress, and when you have stress, you cannot sleep. Number 2 is job security. Now, if you work for yourself and you work very hard, then you will have job security. But when you work for a boss, and the boss just decided, no, this year we cannot employ 100 people, now we are going to only work with 50 people. Then there's no job security, because there's no future in that company. That is what job security is all about. Then illness is when you work for yourself and you work long hours and you don't rest enough, you get sick. When you work for a company and you have medical aid, but you are frequently sick, then your medical aid, they will just deduct, because you must pay for the doctor, you must pay for the medicine, you must pay this and you must pay that. So later on you just get sick, and the people say, no, you cannot work for us, you are just a health risk, and they will let you go. So that is what personal health is all about. So you must just read up on this and give me good examples. And then this is the end of the story. Can you see? In the second year you had a lot of maths that you do, but in the third year there's no maths. It's just technical things like images and bank statements and things like that. So You must not just read upon things. You must also talk to people. Go to a school and talk about, and ask who is giving, go to the office and ask, ma'am, can you tell me who is the design and technology teacher? And make an appointment with that teacher, that you can talk to the teacher and ask, what is design and technology all about? How do you experience it at the primary school? How do you experience it at the high school? And take textbooks and read up what the children are reading, and Google things, and go on internet and go on Pinterest to go to see, to experience different examples, and just think out of the box. You must not just think, oh, I must just work just according to this textbook that the children read. No, you can't think. Remember, you are a student, and a student is always someone who must accumulate information. You must never be satisfied that, I know enough. There's no such thing. Until the day that you die, you will learn things. So you must never be satisfied of what you know today. No, you must always say, there must be more. Even when we serve God, we can never be satisfied. We must always want to know more about God. What does God's heart say? What does God's word say? Now, when you are a student, you must be like that. Always finding out more. Is there a different way? Is there a better way? So when you go for teaching, then you must be like that. You must also encourage your children or your learners. You must, and you as a student teacher must be vibrant, and you must be encouraging, and you must be enthusiastic when you do something. Not just stand there and say, today, and the children will fall asleep. No, you must come with different things. Like I said, when you introduce a lesson, bring something from outside into the class, just to wake the children up. Remember, the more interesting a subject is, or the more you know about the subject, the more interesting you can make it. Remember what I said about images, how you can make, now your lesson is on PowerPoint. Next week you cannot use PowerPoint. Now you must use something else. So that and then also with design and technology, it's not a subject that is in the class. You must also take them out on outings, and so, because they must never know what to expect. They must always know, when I go to the design and technology class, there's always an element of surprise. What will the teacher have for us today? What will I learn? What can I do with it? What can I read up on? How can I Google this thing? And children, when you encourage them, they will be so vibrant that they will come and tell you, oh, ma'am, you know, yesterday I was reading up on this. Just look on my phone what I found. And I found this on the internet. Look at the pictures that I copied. And my dad said, he can even make more. And I have a friend, or my father's friend can even come and tell us, how does this thing work? So can you see, if you encourage children like that, you will never satisfy their interests, but you will make them so vibrant that they will just say, that teacher man, you. And one day when they work, they will always remember, this is Mrs. Herman. She taught me that, and that is why I'm sitting in this big office that I'm sitting now. It's because of her. So let me now, it's the end of the story, ne? It was me again, Mrs. Herman. Okay, now you can call me between 2 and 5, and on Saturdays you can call me, but not 7 o'clock. Please, I'm sleeping 7 o'clock. But after that, it's fine. And then if the phone rings more than 3 times, you send me an SMS, or you send me something on the WhatsApp that you want to know, but not irrelevant things. It must be about the subject. And then my number is 081 644 2582, and that is the end of it. Thank you.